It's about time someone made a high-tech bagger touring bike, and Moto Guzzi leads the way with its carbon fiber clad and ride-by-wire powered MGX-21 Flying Fortress. So here we are in the heartland of Harley-Davidson and Victory motorcycles, their backyard for the annual Sturgis Motorcycle Rally. And today I'm riding Moto Guzzi's MGX-21 Flying Fortress. What's there not to like? From tip to tail, carbon fiber everywhere. Everywhere we rode during this motorcycle rally, people were just staring at us, checking out our bike, asking questions. And this is questions being asked by die-hard American loyalists, guys who are riding Harley baggers, who are riding Victory baggers, and who are riding Honda's Goldwing. But more than good looks, this bike is actually, it's a performer. Initially, when we first hopped on it, the 21-inch front wheel really took me a few miles to acclimate to its handling manners. You don't ride street bikes that have the same rim size as a dirt bike very often, but this MGX-21 does have it. It's surprising how maneuverable a motorcycle can be with that big of a rim. It really turns very quickly. The only probably strange feel it has is once that 21-inch wheel gains inertia when it's turning, the bike turns quick, and it takes a little bit of time to get used to that. You can really turn this thing out of a tight parking lot better than its competitors, I'd have to say. This thing's powered by Moto Guzzi's 1380cc Traverse mounted V-twin. And if you've ever spent any time on this kind of motorcycle, it's very unique in its character. The placement of the engine makes it torque. So whenever you give it throttle, the engine automatically torques, which kind of gives a weird feel at first, but after you get used to it, it's actually a real fun and like pleasing character of the bike. It really makes this Moto Guzzi stand out compared to other motorcycles in the class. The red line on this bike is upwards of 7,000 RPM, and you pull those revs and the bike gets moving in a hurry. We saw top speeds a little bit over triple digits, and the engine was still pulling. The only real limiting factor in how fast you can go is the chassis. We get into some weird winds and conditions, and the thing can get a little flighty and kind of feel a little odd. I was pushing it a little bit today in the corners, and I've yet to even drag any hard parts on this bike. Like, you can corner this thing pretty heavily for a bagger. You get the thing ripping at high RPMs and go around some nice turns, and it feels pretty performance. The brakes also lend itself into that too. They're sharp, they have a lot of power, yet they're not so sharp where they're going to scare you or intimidate you. And another great feature about these brakes is the 4-position lever adjustment. You can actually move the position of the lever forward or aft based on the size of your hands. I also like how more responsive the clutch feels. It's not so on or off like other motorcycles within its class. Electronics wise, that's probably the one area where Moto Guzzi really differentiates itself from the competition. It's got adjustable traction control, 3 engine mode power selections. You have a sport mode, you have a touring mode, and then you have a slower, almost rain mode that kind of neuters the power, makes the power a lot more gentle. This is going to be a great feature for someone who's new to riding, someone who's riding in the dirt, somewhere where the roads are wet and they don't want the full 1380 cc's of muscle that this bike has. Overall, I personally like the sport setting the best. It's a very, very well sorted electronic ride-by-wire throttle system, and kudos to Moto Guzzi for getting that right away. We put probably about 300 miles on this bike, 400 miles over the course of 2 days, and it's a very comfortable bike. The seat's very cozy. I'm amazed by how comfortable the seat is. I haven't had any discomfort at all, nor my back. Like, my spine's totally comfortable, no lower back issues, which is saying a lot. Probably my only one gripe though is the seat is a little bit tall. It's pretty wide here, and I think someone who's a little bit shorter is going to have a little bit harder time maneuvering this bike. The rest of the drivetrain, the 6-speed transmission, it shifts like butter. I haven't experienced one misshift all day, but we were riding this thing with less than 100 miles on the clock, and it shifted great right from the get-go. If this motorcycle was mine, probably the only one thing I would change to it would be the exhaust. If you're sitting on the side of the road or having some guy in a Moto Guzzi pass you, it actually sounds really pleasing. But for whatever reason, here behind the handlebar in the cockpit, it just doesn't have that euphoric V-twin sound that the competition has. Thankfully, Moto Guzzi offers an accessory pipe system for this bike. Now, what an interesting take on the classic bagger touring concept by Moto Guzzi. If you've ever ridden their kinds of motorcycles, you fall in love with the Traverse engine, the way it vibrates, the way it torques when you twist the throttle, and those characteristics are all here in this Flying Fortress bagger. In terms of performance, it delivers. I love that it has traction control, the adjustable engine power modes really come in handy, and this kind of brings a level of technology and a level of fun that isn't really currently available in the bagger touring market. I think it's a really neat bike for someone who wants kind of more of a high-tech bagger, who will kind of want some of the creature comforts that come on more modern motorcycles, still wants that bagger kind of riding experience. This is going to be your bike.